to prove that marrying a female ghost makes the best wife. I directly captured a fairly good-looking female ghost. I planned to develop love with her on the bed over time. But when I was sleeping with her, I realized her lower body was empty, so every night she possesses other people's wives to sleep with me. But I never expected that tonight the person who came would be my beautiful boss. She, who is usually cold and arrogant. At this moment, she shyly begged me to be gentler, and all of this started because I went to the cemetery for thrills after drinking, and ended up really encountering a ghost. Moreover, I even married that female ghost on the spot. After sobering up, looking at my wife floating in front of me with a smile on her face, I suddenly felt my scalp tingle. But since things had come to this, I could only bite the bullet and say, "Miss Ruyan, humans and ghosts belong to different worlds. We can't coexist. How about we end this marriage?" Upon hearing this, the smile on Ruyan's face disappeared instantly. Even the surrounding air turned cold along with it. "What kind of ghost do you take me for? Do you really think I'm that casual?" I was shocked by Ruyan's sudden change of expression. No, don't get me wrong. I'm just afraid of having a wife. You still haven't thought it through? Actually, I'm just a poor guy who plays Naruto. I'm not worthy of someone as beautiful as you at all. As soon as I finished speaking, a smile reappeared on Ruyan's face. "Husband, stop overthinking. Since I married you, I'm your ghost now. Hurry up and get up to have breakfast." As soon as I heard the word breakfast, a bunch of black bugs instantly popped into my mind, along with blurry human fragments. Immediately, I couldn't help but retch on the spot. "Husband, what's wrong?" When Ruyan saw this, she hurriedly patted my back with her palm to show concern. But her hand passed right through me when she patted. After all, she's a ghost, with no physical form. Upon hearing this, I laughed out loud. "Ha ha ha. It's nothing. I cough when I see beautiful women, and coughing easily makes me retch. Then I'll get you a glass of water." After saying that, Ruyan floated toward the living room. At this moment, my brain was working frantically. I must find a way to escape from here. But before I could take any action, Ruyan brought over a glass of water. But who would have thought this water was boiling water at 101 degrees Celsius? As soon as I took a sip, I spat it out with a puffed sound. "It's burning! It's killing me!" "Sorry. Husband, I can't tell the water temperature. I really didn't do this on purpose." When Ruyan saw I was scalded, she panicked and paced around on the spot. Her eyes were even teary. Then she controlled a towel to float over and wipe the water stains off my body from a distance. Seeing this, an idea popped into my head. This female ghost seems to care about me a lot. As long as I don't mention divorce, she's always cautious, afraid of making me unhappy. Maybe a ghost wife like this isn't unacceptable after all. But a ghost is still a ghost. I can't be stupid enough to trust her unconditionally. Immediately, I had a plan in mind. I planned to test how much this female ghost can tolerate. So I started to act in an arrogant manner. "Be more careful next time. Don't scald me again. Don't worry, husband. Next time I'll find a way to measure the temperature. It's my first time being a wife. I don't know anything. Please forgive me, husband." Seeing this, I nodded in satisfaction. "Let's eat first." After saying that, Ruyan floated to the living room first and used her mind to pull out a chair for me to sit on. This meticulous care really made me unable to find any faults. But when I saw the breakfast, I was even more surprised. "Husband, I made this bowl of fried rice specially for you. I used 16 eggs for this one bowl of rice." Looking at this breakfast that looked like egg tarts in front of me, I felt a wave of anxiety in my heart. I don't even know how a ghost made this. Thinking of this, I asked my question. This isn't the kind of food ghosts eat, right? Upon hearing this, Ruyan quickly waved her hands to explain, "No. No? How could I give you offerings to eat, husband?" But she was filled with anxiety in her heart. She was both looking forward to me approving the taste and afraid that I wouldn't be satisfied. I tried taking a bite. I have to say, it's really delicious. When Ruyan beside me saw me eating happily, she finally let out a sigh of relief. After eating and drinking my fill, I made up a random excuse to leave. "Okay, I need to go to work." Husband, you've worked hard." Just as I was about to go out, Ruyan's shy voice suddenly sounded, "Husband, don't get drunk tonight. I'll give you a surprise tonight." I frowned in confusion. "What surprise?" "The kind that men want at night, of course." After Ruyan finished speaking, she shyly floated back to the kitchen quickly and started pretending to clean up the dishes and bowls. At work, I was distracted the whole time, thinking about how to deal with tonight's surprise. I didn't even pay attention when my beautiful boss walked past me. This made Ning Yao snort coldly, showing signs of dissatisfaction. Immediately, she shouted at me in front of all my colleagues, "Have you finished your design draft?" Why haven't you submitted it when it's due? You don't have to come tomorrow. And the colleagues in the office area had their heads down the whole time. Like turtles, they didn't even dare to look in my direction, let alone speak up for me. I also figured out everything. The company has long been rumored to be planning layoffs, and I just happened to walk right into the line of fire today. I also accepted my fate. Anyway, I can go back and focus on dealing with my ghost wife. After packing up my things, I left the company. Then I exercised in the park all afternoon, and also slept for a while in a hotel hourly room. The purpose was to ensure I had enough energy, so that the female ghost wouldn't drain my spiritual energy directly. On the way home, I calmed down and carefully analyzed what had happened. Now that I think about it, ghosts aren't that scary. Damn it, as long as you're brave enough. Sadako could even take maternity leave. If it works out, I could even have an extra gentle wife. The worst case is just restarting my life. So I gritted my teeth and made a decision. Instead of running away, it's better to face it head-on proactively. As soon as I entered the house, a cold gust of wind hit me in the face. Then a beautiful figure appeared. "Husband, you're back." At this moment, my eyes showed a determination to face death. I'm going all out. I want to see if the female ghost is more powerful, or if my body is stronger. At this moment, my ghost wife squatted down. With her hands made of ghostly ki, she levitated a pair of slippers over and placed them at my feet. I carelessly kicked off my leather shoes, but my ghost wife wasn't angry. She took the initiative to pick up my leather shoes and arrange them neatly. Then I plopped down on a chair by the dining table, with my legs crossed. "Is the food ready?" "I'm hungry, hey." "Husband, dinner will be ready right away." After saying that, my ghost wife floated back to the kitchen. With both hands levitating a plate of braised pork, she placed it on the table. Then she brought out a plate of stir-fried seasonal vegetables and a bowl of seaweed and egg drop soup. I checked several times to confirm it was food for humans. Only then did I feel relieved and take a bite. The taste is not bad. This ghost wife really put her heart into it. Ruyan floated beside me, watching me eat. Her face was full of happiness. "Ruyan, can you stop floating there like a ghost? It's creepy." Upon hearing this, Ruyan sank her body down, and her whole body became physical. To the naked eye, she looked like a real woman. When I transform into a human form, it will continuously consume my ghostly power. I'll get tired if it lasts too long, and I'll feel a bit uncomfortable too. But if you like it, husband, this is nothing. From now on, I'll appear in human form in front of you. I was overjoyed when I heard that as long as I can consume her ghostly power, it'll be fine. Only then can I gain the upper hand in tonight's great battle. So, in order to consume more of Ruyan's ghostly power, I invited her to take human form and accompany me for a walk downstairs. Although Ruyan didn't understand my purpose, she was very happy. After all, she could go out. The corner of my mouth lifted slightly. I planned to test my ghost wife, to see what her tolerance limit was. "Honey, do you have any money?" I got fired from the company. I have no money to spend. I was so thick-skinned that even I felt embarrassed. "Yes, I have money." "Husband, don't worry. I'll bring you money tomorrow." I thought this ghost wife was really too nice. She didn't get angry no matter how I teased her. "Okay, but don't give me hell money. I know you're a ghost wife, but you're not a stupid ghost." After hearing her words, a sense of guilt welled up in my heart. If I don't get hurt tonight, I'll decide to get along well with my ghost wife. "Husband, do you still want to work? If you do, I'll find a way. I'll make your boss take back the dismissal decision. Of course I want to work. Otherwise, I'll really be fooling around every day." Ruyan nodded her cute, playful head, then came over to hold my arm. I felt very cold. I subconsciously wanted to avoid her. But I thought about how my ghost wife not only gave me money, but also was so generous to me, so I gritted my teeth, endured the cold, and let her get close to me. "Husband, I like you so much." Watching Ruyan skipping and following beside me, I couldn't bear to continue consuming her ghostly power. "Forget it, let's have a fair duel tonight. Let's go back." Upon hearing this, Ruyan looked very happy. It just so happened that she was also about to lose her strength. Okay, husband, you're the best." The corner of my mouth twitched. In the end, my heart still softened. I glanced at my wife with a happy face, then took a deep breath. We'll see who's stronger tonight. After getting home, Ruyan told me to go take a shower. She said she'd go out for a while and be right back. I nodded and agreed. I was covered in sweat from the heat, and I really needed a shower to relieve my tiredness and prepare for the upcoming fight. Soon, Ruyan turned into a spirit body and drifted out the window. After washing up, I lay on the bed, calming the excitement in my heart and the fear of the unknown. I had no idea what it would feel like to fight a ghost. After a long time, there was a sudden thud. The living room door opened and then closed. Then came the sound of high-heeled shoes walking. I walked out in confusion to check. When I saw who it was, I was completely shocked. It turned out to be my boss, Yin Yao, who walked in. She gave me a shy smile. And then Ruyan's ghostly face appeared on her face. "Husband, don't worry about me. I'm saving her life. You'll understand later. I'll go take a shower first. Wait for me on the bed." She didn't wait for my answer for even a few minutes. Ruyan went straight into the bathroom. Although I didn't understand what she was trying to do, she said it was to save Ning Yao's life. So I had no choice but to follow Ruyan's arrangement. I went back to the bedroom. Half an hour later, a warm body slipped into my arms. I was so scared that I jumped. I wanted to struggle, but my body wouldn't listen to me. Then the wooden bed creaked for 2.5 minutes. Exhausted, I fell into a deep sleep. The next day before dawn, Ruyan controlled Ning Yao and sent her back home. When I woke up, I felt that all this was beyond my comprehension. I couldn't believe what had happened last night. Not long after, Ruyan came back.
"Husband, aren't you going to sleep a little longer?"
I didn't answer her. Instead, I put on a serious face. "Cut the crap! What the hell is going on here? And how did you know in advance that her life would be in danger?" Ruyan took human form and sat beside me, and explained gently, "I have my own difficulties too. Please understand me, husband." My heart skipped a beat. It turned out that my ghost wife had really dragged me into a conspiracy. Don't be fooled by how imposing I seem now. It's only because Ruyan is still willing to play the role of my ghost wife. To protect my personal safety, I decided not to have a showdown with my ghost wife for the time being. Then I went to the company to go through the resignation procedures. I waited for quite a while. Before Ning Yao came out of the elevator, I looked at her confidently and noticed that her walking posture was strange. I instantly figured out the reason. Ning Yao also noticed my gaze. She felt flustered, but she pretended to be calm and quickened her pace to walk into the office. I hurried to follow her and handed her the resignation approval form in my hand. Ning Yao didn't take it. Instead, she told me to wait outside for a while. After closing the door, she gritted her teeth and tried to calm down. Since this morning, her mind had been filled with the dream she had last night. She didn't understand why she had such a dream, and even more so, why the person in the dream was that loser outside the door. What she couldn't understand the most was that dream last night had actually taken her virginity. Ning Yao clearly remembered how crazy she had been last night, and even how happy she had felt. So much so that when she saw me this morning, her heart was still pounding wildly. After more than 10 minutes, she finally called me into the office. She threw the resignation approval form on the desk, and it wasn't signed. "Go back to work with peace of mind. The company hasn't reached the point where it has to lay off employees yet." I felt secretly delighted. It turned out that a woman's body and heart were indeed inseparable. But just as I was about to leave the office, Ning Yao suddenly called me back and asked, "Where did you go last night?" My heart skipped a beat when I heard that. I didn't go anywhere. I just stayed at home and slept. After hearing this, Ning Yao obviously breathed a sigh of relief. "There's nothing else. You can go out first." After work, I lay on the sofa, watching Ruyan work hard doing housework. I wanted to tease her, so I said, "Honey, I want a massage right now, but you don't have a physical body. What should we do?" Upon hearing this, Ruyan just smiled softly. "I can use my ghostly power to give you a massage, husband." But I pretended to complain. "That won't feel good." "Honey, I like the feeling of human skin-to-skin contact." "Husband, don't be in a hurry. When I cultivate to the ghost spirit realm, I'll have a body just like a human's. Then we can—" She stopped halfway through her sentence. She fell silent. After hearing this, I sat up straight with excitement. Cultivation actually exists in this world? This is a ghost cultivation technique. You can't practice it. But I said I wouldn't give up any chance. My persistence made Ruyan a little embarrassed. "The technique belongs to my grandfather. I have to go back and ask him first." With that, she got ready to go out. And before leaving, she thoughtfully booked a masseuse for me online. The masseuse was a middle-aged woman dressed in revealing clothes. She had a very charming appearance and an extremely hot figure. After Ruyan left, the masseur felt awkward as he looked at me. "Sir, would you like a conventional massage or an unconventional one?" I looked confused. Are there even unconventional massages? Then give me the unconventional one. Maybe the massage technique was too comfortable. I unknowingly fell asleep. Midnight. I suddenly felt a body holding me. I opened my eyes, and my scalp tingled instantly. I was so shocked I almost fell off. It turned out to be Tang Xin, the young wife next door. She used to tease me often before, but back then I was as dull as a wooden block, completely oblivious to her advances. Honey, don't talk. This time we're saving her. Saving someone again? I feel like I'm almost becoming a savior. You'll understand later. Don't ask more now. I tried to struggle and refuse, but the same thing as last night happened again. I could only sigh, tears welling up in the corners of my eyes, silently enduring all this. The next day I couldn't hold back anymore, preparing to question my ghost wife thoroughly. But just then, there was a sudden knock on the door, followed by an angry voice. Get out here! It was actually Tang Xin from next door. I immediately had a bad premonition, and then glared at Ruyan unhappily. You go explain to her yourself. Ruyan took human form, opened the door, and grinned at Tang Xin. Sister Tang, what's wrong? Do you have something to do with my husband? When Tang Xin saw Ruyan, she started to look confused. She muttered to herself, could last night really have been a dream? But that dream was so real. It didn't feel fake at all. Thinking this, Tang Xin stared at me and slowly walked into the house. Nothing. I'm not feeling well. I had a nightmare last night. I want Yahan to go with me to the hospital for a checkup. Hearing this, I was so scared that I wet my diaper. If we really went to the hospital, wouldn't everything be exposed? I might even end up in jail. Ruyan turned around and winked at me. Honey, didn't you just say you wanted to go out for a walk? Hurry and go with Sister Tang to the hospital for a checkup. I instantly understood what Ruyan meant and quickly agreed. Before going out, Ruyan even transferred 1 million wen in pocket money to my card. Go out and treat Sister Tang to something nice. This made Tang Xin look at me with new respect. Naughty boy, I didn't expect your wife to be a little rich lady. What does her family do? I quickly cleared my throat. My wife's grandfather is the village chief. They have a bit of family wealth. I wasn't lying. Ruyan's grandfather really was the village chief, but he was the chief of Cemetery Village. On the way to the hospital by car, I tentatively asked Tang Xin, what's wrong with you? Where do you feel unwell? It's not that I'm unwell, it's just that I had a nightmare last night. I think you might have encountered a ghost, sister. How about I take you to a temple to pray for blessings instead? I meant to warn her, and tried to distract Tang Xin so she wouldn't go to the hospital for a checkup. Tang Xin didn't think much and agreed. At the same time, on the other side, Ning Yao was dealing with company business. She was in a bar, clinking glasses nonstop with 3 men. Seeing Ning Yao's bitter face and pleading expression, the 3 men secretly got excited, winking at each other, constantly finding ways to make her drink more. Liquor dripped from the corner of Ning Yao's mouth onto her fair neck, making the 3 men's throats twitch uncontrollably. Even put his arm around Ning Yao's shoulders. By this time, Ning Yao's head was spinning. She tried to push away the man's obscene hands on her body, but it was useless. Ning Yao grew anxious, and anger gradually appeared on her face. Seeing this, the man let go of his arm and said, well then, how about this? You drink 1 glass of wine, and we'll pay you 10% of the money we owe you. You just need to drink 10 glasses, and the money is yours. Ning Yao wanted to refuse, but the company was currently short of cash. She had no choice but to grit her teeth and agree. The 3 men smiled, their sinister plan having succeeded. At this moment, she deeply regretted coming to this business dinner alone. After drinking 10 glasses, Ning Yao started seeing double vision. She didn't dare to think about what would happen after the alcohol took effect. She had always been firm in her celibacy. But after that dream the other night, my face often popped up in her mind. Now, I was the only one she felt she could rely on. So Ning Yao quietly took out her phone, sent me the private room's location, and left a message. Come save me quickly. At this moment, I had just sent Tang Xin home. When I saw the message, I was confused. But upon seeing the distress message, I didn't dare to delay. I immediately rushed towards the location. Ruyan floated behind me, following closely. Meanwhile, inside the private room, Ning Yao was already lying on the sofa, dead drunk and unconscious. Her graceful figure made Chiang Sen so excited that he rubbed his hands, and then pounced on Ning Yao. A sound of tearing clothes rang out. Ning Yao finally regained a trace of consciousness. She waved her arms to resist, but it was completely useless. At this time, I was slowly approaching the door of the private room. Hearing Ning Yao's cries for help from inside, I kicked the door open directly. I saw Ning Yao lying on the sofa in disheveled clothes, while Chang Sen, with his cherry-like mouth pouted, was leaning in towards Ning Yao's pretty face. I shouted, "Beast! Let go of that girl." Before I finished speaking, I kicked Chang Sen in his vital spot. The intense pain made him roll on the ground non-stop. When the other two men saw this, they picked up stools and swung them at my head. I narrowed my eyes, about to raise my hand to fight back, when suddenly the two men slammed the stools in their hands, hard onto Chang Sen, who was on the ground. It turned out my ghost wife was interfering with their minds. Chang Sen screamed in pain, almost passing out. I was about to throw a few more punches to vent my anger, when Ning Yao on the sofa retched, her eyebrows furrowed tightly. She looked extremely uncomfortable. "Honey, you deal with them. I'll take Director Ning away first." After quickly helping Ning Yao tidy up her torn clothes, I carried her to the front desk and booked a hotel room. After Ruyan finished dealing with the men, she also floated into the room, following behind us. As soon as we entered the room, Ning Yao couldn't hold it in anymore and threw up directly. After vomiting, she became a little more sober. Looking at the surrounding environment, her face turned bright red. "Why did you bring me to a hotel to get a room? This isn't right." She completely forgot what had happened in the private room earlier. I scolded her unhappily. "You almost got violated by that beast. And you're asking me why? Where are Director Chang and the others now?" "I already drank 10 glasses of wine. They promised to pay the project funds." Hearing this, a cold feeling welled up in my heart. "I broke 3 of their legs. They should be in the hospital by now." Ning Yao sobered up instantly after hearing this, and immediately took out her phone to call them. All she could hear from the other end was whimpering and constant moaning. After 2.5 minutes, the person on the other end finally yelled, "Bitch! You actually dared to find someone to beat me? If you don't come over and kneel down to apologize to me, you'll never get a penny of that money." With that, the other person hung up the phone. Ning Yao looked at me dejectedly. "You really broke their legs?" Ruyan spoke in a voice only I could hear. "Honey, I'm sorry. I really broke their legs." I shook my head secretly, signaling that she'd done well. Then I looked at Ning Yao with a firm gaze. "The 3 of them tried to rape you. I couldn't stand by, so I really broke their legs." "What rape? What are you talking about?" "That's such an ugly way to put it." Ning Yao glared at me. Even though what I said was the truth, saying it to her face still embarrassed her. "Well, if you hit them, you hit them. Those 3 really aren't good people anyway. Luckily you came in time. Otherwise, the consequences would have been unimaginable. But I'm afraid we'll never get that money back now. When we get back to the company, let the legal department file a lawsuit." Ning Yao's brows furrowed even tighter. It seemed the company was really in trouble. "Boss, let's talk about the company's matters tomorrow. You should rest well first." After saying that, I politely closed the door and left. This made Ruyan, who was floating in midair, very unhappy. "Honey, this woman is so impolite." "You kindly carried her back to the room, and she didn't even say a thank you." Forget it. Aren't we still working for her anyway? Besides, I couldn't bring myself to finish the sentence. Ruyan hung it a few times and said no more. But as soon as we got home, she said she had to go out for something. I couldn't help but wonder, she must be going to possess another woman again. I wanted to refuse, but the words got stuck in my throat and I swallowed them back. I lay on the bed, lost in thought, feeling both anxious and overwhelmed by great pressure. I also wondered if Ruyan would go to Tang Xin's house. Suddenly a thought jolted me. Wang Xin. His family has a lot of ghost-expelling talismans brought back from the temple. Could those hurt my ghost wife? At the thought of this, I hurried to call Ruyan back, but she had already floated out of sight. 2.5 hours later, I felt a slender, familiar body pressing down on me, looking at the woman in front of me. I was shocked stiff. That's right, it was Ning Yao who had been drunk just earlier. By this time, she had already cleaned herself up, and the fragrance from her body made me dizzy, while also filling me with a strong sense of guilt. I held back my impulse, using all my strength to push her away. Honey, I didn't make her do this. Hearing this, I finally noticed Ruyan's soul floating in midair. She had already withdrawn her control over Ning Yao, but Ning Yao was still dazed, still under the influence of amplified emotions from being drunk. After I pushed her away, she pounced on me again, sobbing. Yehan, I'm your boss. You mustn't resist. Hearing this, I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Boss, you're drunk. Don't be like this. I know I'm drunk. But this is a dream. You can do anything in a dream and it won't be a crime. Won't you let me stay in this dream a little longer? My work pressure is so high. No one can share it with me. Is it so bad to let me indulge a little in my dream? I was about to refuse, but my mouth was ruthlessly covered. Then I was pressed down by her strong arms. I was stunned. How could this woman be so wild? Ruyan watched the scene, feeling both jealous and angry. But she knew her purpose tonight. Honey, tonight is the perfect opportunity. Quick, close your eyes. Focus your mind, and I'll help you perform the strongest spiritual shock. I was confused. What spiritual shock? Don't talk, just do as I say. After 2.5 minutes, I felt a cold aura flowing inside my body. The next day before dawn, Rian was clattering around in the kitchen making breakfast. I, on the other hand, was feeling the faint aura inside me and the strength from my greatly enhanced physical fitness. Was this ghost wife really going to help me cultivate? During breakfast, my opinion of Ruyan had changed drastically. I no longer made difficult demands that tormented ghosts. Just then, Ningyao called. She told me to go to the hotel immediately. Her voice was very weak, as if she had suffered a severe physical blow. My heart skipped a beat. I looked at Ruyan. Honey, go ahead, don't worry. She's fine. She just needs to rest for a few days. As for the reason behind it, you'll find out later. Hearing this, I didn't dare to delay. I got up, changed my clothes, and prepared to go out. Suddenly, Ruyan called me back. Oh, right, honey. When you see Ning Yao's appearance, don't be surprised, and don't feel guilty, because you saved her life. She should be the one grateful to you. It's a pity that she'll never know you're her savior. Ruyan spoke very seriously. But when I arrived at the hotel, I was still shocked. Ning Yao's face was as pale as paper, bloodless, with heavy dark circles under her eyes. It was like she'd just survived a life-threatening illness. No wonder Ruyan had reminded me not to feel guilty, but not feeling guilty was impossible. I gently helped Ning Yao wash up and carefully supported her to the bathroom. Ning Yao was deeply moved, even tears welling up in the corners of her eyes. But when she looked in the mirror, she screamed in fright. I quickly comforted her, saying it was from drinking too much last night, and that she must never drink again. Ning Yao calmed down, finally understanding what it meant for indulgence in alcohol and sensual pleasures to drain the body. Just thinking about the wildness in her dream last night, she felt her whole body heat up, her face turning as red as a teapot. Seeing this, I comforted her from the side. Never get drunk like that again. Money can never be earned enough. There's no need to work this hard. All right, it's a pity that even after paying such a big price, I still can't get the project funds. Ning Yao looked very dejected. Changsen and the others never planned to give you the money in the first place. No matter how much you struggle, it won't help. Instead of obsessing over that money, you should think of other ways. You're right. This afternoon, go with me to meet the president of Republic Bank. Later, I took Ning Yao to the hospital to get some medicine. At noon, I told Ruyan that I had to go with Ning Yao to meet the bank president in the afternoon, so I wouldn't be coming home for lunch. Ruyan said she understood and asked which bank's president it was. When she found out it was Republic Bank, she told me not to provoke him. This president isn't a good person. If we need money, I can find a way, but I thought that as an employee of the company, I should share the boss's worries. It would be too incompetent to rely entirely on my wife. Seeing how firm I was, Ruyan said no more, only telling me a secret about the president. In the afternoon, Ning Yao and I arrived at the hotel private room early. After a long time, President Zhuang of Republic Bank finally arrived, and he came alone. When he saw that Ning Yao had brought a male assistant with her, President Zhuang's expression collapsed like an avalanche. He had thought Ning Yao understood the unspoken rules of socializing, but he never expected her to bring a male assistant along. We'd only been eating for less than half an hour when he pretended to answer a call, saying he had something urgent to do and needed to leave first. I volunteered to see President Zhuang out and gave Ning Yao a look signaling her not to follow. On the way, I leaned close to his ear and whispered, President Zhuang, are you heading to Jinsha Vault? I can give you a ride in my car. As soon as these words left my mouth, Zhuang Aigo suddenly shuddered all over. Gritting his teeth in resignation, he returned to the private room, seeing President Zhuang come back. Ning Yao was confused. I smiled and kept gesturing to Ning Yao with my eyes. Director Ning. President Zhuang said he forgot to arrange the loan for us. He came back to tell us how to prepare the documents. With things having come to this, Zhuang Aiguo could only lower his voice, reluctantly agreeing to the loan request. He even arranged Ning Yao's loan procedures for the next day on the spot. After the banquet ended, Ning Yao asked me, "Why did President Zhuang suddenly change his mind?" I smiled and said, "The president is just dedicated to helping enterprises." Seeing that I wasn't telling the truth, Ning Yao rolled her eyes and told me to go home by myself. The next day, I ate a delicious breakfast, feeling relaxed and happy. My ghost wife's cooking skills were getting better and better. "Honey, I'm going to buy a car today. Do you have a favorite brand or model? Give me some advice. It's a pity you can't go out during the day. Otherwise, we could pick out the car together." After all, Ruyan was fully funding the car purchase, so I had to pretend to discuss it with her. "Who said I can't go out? Look at this." Ruyan playfully held up a black jade and showed it to me. "What is this?" I asked, confused. The black jade gave me an uneasy feeling. It looked like something from a dead person. I secretly stole this from Grandpa. It's called the Black Soul Jade. It's a rare treasure. If Grandpa finds out I stole it, he'll definitely beat me to death. With this, I can go buy the car with you, honey. As long as you wear it on your body, I can hide inside and go with you. After saying that, Ruyan hung the Black Soul Jade around my neck. The moment the Black Soul Jade touched my skin, I felt instantly refreshed. Then Ruyan turned into a wisp of green smoke and drifted into the jade pendant. "Honey, we can go out now." Ruyan's voice came from the Black Soul Jade, transmitted through a form similar to spiritual thought. No one else could hear it. I suddenly understood, so that's what it was used for. When I arrived at the 4S store, I never expected that the salesperson greeting me would be my first love, my white moonlight. Every time I recalled how I used to grovel to Shen Yanren, I wanted to slap myself. "Why are you working here?" I forced myself to greet her. "Huh, is that a meaningful question? You clearly went out of your way to find me here. Now you want to pretend it's a coincidence." I looked awkward. After all, I had actually done things like that before, which had left Shen Yanren with a psychological shadow from being pursued. Just as I was about to explain to her, a car suddenly rushed up from the underground garage. Instinctively, I pushed Shen Yanren out of the way. But I myself was put in danger. I was about to be hit by the car when a powerful force suddenly flicked me out of the way. I turned around and saw the car had passed straight through Ruyan's ghostly body. "Honey, are you okay?" I quickly stood up, reaching out to grab Ruyan's ghostly form. Ruyan quickly flew back into the Black Soul Jade. I was extremely anxious, hurriedly asking if Ruyan was hurt. "I'm fine. I just got exposed to the sun for a few seconds. My body feels a little uncomfortable. I'm afraid I can't help you anymore today during the day." Looking at her uncomfortable state, I felt a surge of regret. This also made me fully admit that Ruyan was truly my wife. And because of this little accident, Shen Yanran mistakenly thought that I loved her so much that I would risk my life for her. To avoid unnecessary trouble, I randomly bought a Porsche and left. That night, Ruyan said she needed to go back to the cemetery to heal the injuries from being exposed to the sun today. While Ruyan was out, I immediately went to Tang Xin's house to collect the ghost exorcising Buddha statues and other items to prevent accidentally hurting Ruyan again. After finishing, I lay down and fell into a deep sleep. Suddenly, I felt a soft body in my arms and 2 warm lips pressed against mine. I wanted to push her away, but I couldn't bear to let go of this tenderness. Which woman had my ghost wife possessed this time? Who cares? This is the last time. I swore. This is definitely the last time. After a night of passion, I slowly calmed down. Then I opened my eyes and looked. I was so scared that I froze on the spot. It was my white moonlight, Shen Yanran. Looking at her post-intimacy expression, I cursed inwardly. Why did my ghost wife have to choose her of all people? Why my ex-girlfriend? After we finished, Ruyan took control of Shen Yanran and had her go home. When she left, there was a hint of jealousy in her tone. Don't act like you're wronged after getting what you wanted. I know exactly what you're thinking. The next day, as soon as I arrived at the company, Ning Yao came to my desk on her own initiative, asking me to join her at President Zhuang's dinner invitation. Having received an invitation from President Zhuang, she was naturally in a very good mood. But as soon as we arrived at the hotel, we ran into Chang Sen and his group. Their bodies were wrapped in medical bandages, looking extremely miserable. "Ning Yao, you bitch! You actually let your subordinate beat us up." Chang Sen pointed at Ning Yao's nose and cursed on the spot. Seeing this, I slapped Chang Sen directly across the face. "I warned you. Don't use foul language. By now, after being nurtured by my ghost wife, my physical fitness had improved drastically. These three good-for-nothings were no match for me anymore. Changsen was stunned by the slap. When he came to his senses, he flew into a rage. Damn it! I'll kill you! I slapped him again, saying, I told you not to use foul language. Don't you learn your lesson? Changsen was furious. Gritting his teeth, he swore, Today, either you die or I die. What are you all doing? Suddenly, a stern, cold shout instantly cooled down the tense atmosphere. President Zhuang, this guy hit me. Chongsoran to Zhuang Aigo like a child complaining, hoping to get some sympathy. Zhuang Aigo walked over, and his heart skipped a beat when he saw me. Wasn't this Ye Han the main guest he had invited today? Ever since being threatened by Ruyan, he had specially organized this dinner to ease the tension between us, or rather to curry favor with me. Immediately, Zhuang Aigo turned around and slapped Chiang Sen across the face. Then he warmly shook my hand, saying, Director Ye, you hit him well. This friend of mine is just an uneducated nobody. He lacks discipline. He truly deserves a beating. He truly deserves a beating. I forced a chuckle in response and shook hands with Zhuang Aigo. President Zhuang has sharp eyes, you're right. Chiang Sen has a foul mouth. He insulted my boss, so I had to teach him a lesson. After that, Zhuang Aigo politely led Ning Yao and me into the private room. At the dinner table, Zhuang Aigo also explained the purpose of organizing this dinner. Director Chang, I heard, your company owes Director Ning's company nearly 30 million yuan in project funds. Is that true? As soon as these words were spoken, Chang Sen and his group's faces turned dark. They reluctantly admitted it. Under Zhuang Aigo's pressure, Chang Sen had no choice but to immediately inform his finance department to settle the outstanding payment to Ning Yao's company. Ning Yao was so excited she almost jumped onto the table. Then Zhuang Aigo even promised to hand over all the non-performing assets recovered by his group and Wada Plaza to Ning Yao's company for construction. Such a large project would not only bring Ning Yao huge profits, but also elevate her company's status in the industry to a higher level. But I felt confused, unable to make sense of it. Chang Sen and his group, however, were overjoyed and couldn't help but admire Zhuang Aigo immensely. On the surface, he seemed to be mediating to help Ning Yao recover the project funds. But in reality, Wada Plaza was an even bigger trap. Ning Yao was aware of her company's capabilities, so she became cautious. Seeing her hesitation, Zhuang Aigo tried to reassure her. Director Ning, don't worry. I won't trick you, and I can't trick you. If you're worried, you can go inspect the project first. After the inspection, if you think you can take it on, do it. If not, it's fine. With words put this way, Ning Yao had no choice but to agree tentatively. On the way back, Ning Yao couldn't help but question me. What exactly is your identity? I shrugged my shoulders, pretending to be confused. Boss, don't you know my identity already? Aren't my files still kept in the company? Then why does President Zhuang show you so much respect and attention? Maybe I have something on him, I said. After thinking about it, this was the only explanation Ning Yao would believe. Ning Yao didn't say anything more and immediately rushed back to the company for a meeting. After briefly introducing the general situation of the project, the engineering director stood up. Director Ning and colleagues, from the unconfirmed information I've obtained, the reason no one has dared to take on Wada Plaza so far is that it's haunted. The previous company withdrew because of ghostly disturbances, which caused workers to have unexplained accidents. Ning Yao's face changed when she heard this. She immediately thought of the dinner table when President Zhuang mentioned this matter, and Chang Sen suddenly switched sides to speak for her. As someone in the construction industry, the last thing she wanted was to deal with such supernatural nonsense. She even suspected that Zhuang Aigo was taking this opportunity to get revenge, just as everyone was talking animatedly. I stood up and said, Didn't President Zhuang say, we could go inspect the site? Then let's go! And we should go at night. We can even stay at the project site for a few days to see if there are any ghosts. Ning Yao fully agreed with me and immediately organized the department heads to go inspect the site that night. At 9 p.m., our group arrived at the construction site. I walked ahead first, with Ning Yao closely following behind me. Women are naturally afraid of ghosts, even strong-willed businesswomen like her. Ning Yao pressed her body tightly against my back, while the others held hands. No braver than Ning Yao. What are you all afraid of? There are no ghosts here. Even if there were, there's nothing to be afraid of. A few slaps would send them flying. I laughed loudly, joking with everyone to lighten the mood. Heh, is that so? Young man, why don't you try slapping me and see if you can send me flying? Suddenly, a hoarse voice came from the darkness. Then a long-tongued ghost appeared in front of everyone. Immediately after, another shrill, ghostly scream rang out, and all kinds of ghosts appeared out of thin air one after another. The ghostly screams sounded right next to their ears, scaring everyone so much they collapsed to the ground, trembling. At this moment, I was the only one who dared to confront the ghosts. Damn, you're so ugly. You're like heaven and earth compared to my beautiful ghost wife. Total opposites. Young man, are you really not afraid? Afraid of what? When people die, they're like extinguished lamps. You were a coward when you were alive, and even more useless dead. Watch me slap you to death. The hanging ghost was so angry he jumped into a rage, waving his claws to possess me. But suddenly the scene changed. The hanging ghost came to an abrupt stop. The Black Soul Jade, how do you have the Black Soul Jade? Seeing that the hanging ghost not only recognized the Black Soul Jade, but also feared it, I immediately shouted sharply, "Kneel!" Upon hearing this, all the ghosts knelt on the ground. "Spare us, sir. I really didn't know you were..." I quickly cut off the hanging ghost's words. I didn't want my colleagues to know that I had a ghost wife at home. Then I frowned and said, "My company has now taken over this construction site, and construction will start soon. Find another place to stay." The ghost had great respect for the Black Soul Jade and immediately drifted away into the distance. After the ghost left, Ningyao and the others seemed to wake up from a dream.
I can drive away wild ghosts with this.
A family heirloom jade pendant. It wards off evil and expels ghosts. I generously showed the Black Soul Jade to everyone. Ningyao looked at me, her eyes filled with admiration. We can take on this project. Everyone has worked hard. Go home tomorrow. Ask the HR department to give each person a 1,000 yuan special contribution bonus. After that, the group walked out of the construction site with their heads held high, excited. Meanwhile, Chiang Sen and his two companions were secretly watching from outside. Seeing how happy we were, they assumed we hadn't encountered any wild ghosts, and a triumphant smile appeared on their faces. When I got home in the middle of the night, I saw Tang Xin sitting on the sofa waiting for me. The faint shadow of Ruyan could be seen on her face. "Honey, tonight is the best chance to save Tang Xin. She doesn't have her guard up against you tonight," I helplessly complained. Saving someone again? Every night, it's nothing but saving people. Even an ox would be worked to death. I don't want to do this unethical stuff anymore. As soon as I finished speaking, I felt dizzy, and my body uncontrollably pounced on Tang Xin due to the emotional ups and downs she'd experienced these past few days. Tang Xin's emotions erupted like a flood breaking a dam, wild and overwhelming, so much so that I could barely handle it. After a long time, there was a cold aura flowing inside my body. Suddenly, I felt that my body had been significantly strengthened once again. At the same time, I suddenly opened my eyes. Tang Xin, who was possessed, also opened her eyes. "Husband, don't feel guilty. You've saved another person's life." I was too tired to even complain about this line, because every time after my ghost wife made me conquer her, she would always give this exact explanation. Early the next morning, not long after Ruyan sent Tang Xin back to her room, the police knocked on Tang Xin's door, but Tang Xin didn't come to open it for a long time. I heard the thudding knock on the door, so I went to the corridor to check. "Comrade Police, may I ask what happened?" The two policemen looked me up and down and replied, "Her husband jumped off a building and died last night. We're here to ask her to come to the station to cooperate with the investigation." I immediately realized in my mind that my ghost wife was behind this. Soon after, the door opened, and Tang Xin stumbled out unsteadily, looking extremely weak. The policeman got straight to the point. "Your husband jumped off a building and died last night. Come with us to make a statement." Upon hearing this, Tang Xin was shocked and couldn't believe it. How could he have jumped off a building and died? Tang Xin didn't know what kind of mood she was in. She hurried to change her clothes and took me to the police station to make the statement together. After arriving at the police station, the police really only asked about the situation and didn't make things difficult for Tang Xin. They also knew quite well about Tang Xin's husband, because he was a drug addict who had been detained by other police stations before. He had a criminal record. Moreover, Tang Xin's husband jumped off a building in another district of the city, which was far from here. And from the autopsy, it was found that there were unknown drug residues in his body, initially determined to be banned drugs. After finishing the statement, I supported Tang Xin and walked out of the police station. Looking at her weak body, I suggested we first go to the tea restaurant ahead for breakfast, and then stop by the hospital to get some medicine. I was quite experienced in taking care of weak women. By this point, as I was supporting Tang Xin, about to enter a tea restaurant, a young man and an old woman stopped us. "Where are you two going?" When Tang Xin saw them, her face turned pale instantly. "Tang Xin, your husband just died, and you can't wait to fool around with some random man? Walking arm in arm to have breakfast early in the morning. You're just like Pan Jinlian back in the day," the old woman snapped arrogantly. After listening for a while, I finally understood the old woman's motive. This old woman and Huang Yulong didn't even have time to collect their family member's body, yet they rushed over to stop Tang Xin. Their only goal was to seize Tang Xin's property. I wasn't going to indulge people like this. What kind of person your brother really is. You know better than anyone else. I'd advise you to be content with what you have. At this, Huang Yulong's face turned red and he started threatening me. "You can have my sister-in-law. I want the property. We won't interfere with each other." When the old woman saw we were leaving, she quickly put her hands on our hips and blocked our way. "You old fool, no respect for your age. If you don't move, do you believe I'll slap you?" I said this as I forced my way through. When the old woman saw me approaching, she pointed at me and screamed insults. I finally lost my temper and slapped her hard, knocking her rolling to the ground. Then I didn't even glance at her, but pulled Tang Xin away from this trouble spot. Huang Yulong helped the old woman up and said in fear, "Mom, what do we do? That bitch's lover seems to know martial arts." Huang Yulong was a typical bully who picked on the weak and feared the strong. His mother was so angry she clenched her false teeth and came up with a plan. "Let's go to that bitch Tang Xin's hometown. We'll lie at the door of her hometown house. Let's see if she dares to beat me to death." After eating and getting the medicine, Shen Yanran suddenly asked to meet me, saying she had something important to discuss in person. I had no choice but to agree reluctantly. Since I had gone out in a police car that morning, I told Tang Xin to take a taxi back first, while I took a taxi to meet Shen Yanran. When she saw I had come by taxi, she finally believed my story about the Porsche, that I had bought it for my boss. But she didn't care about that anymore now. What she valued more was my sincere feelings for her. Then she hopped over and waved her hands at me. As I looked at the little white rabbits bouncing on her chest, I couldn't help but think of that crazy night. But I still frowned. "What important matter do you have, anyway?" "Brother, yeah, I feel like you've changed. You used to chatter nonstop when you saw me." "Yes, I've changed. So stop fixating on whether I have or not. If you have something to say it. If not, I really will leave." I didn't have the patience to drag this out with her. I waved for a taxi, ready to leave. "Husband, wait a minute. I really do have something." Shen Yanran spoke very quickly when she called me that. "What the hell did you call me?" I looked at her in confusion. Shen Yanran's face turned bright red instantly. She lowered her head, her heart almost leaping out of her chest. "You heard wrong. I called you brother, yeah? Never mind that. Will you be my boyfriend again?" I didn't hesitate at all, and refused outright. "No, I was just joking with you. Why are you so worked up? I actually want you to pretend to be my boyfriend." Hearing this, I looked confused. "Why do you want me to pretend to be your boyfriend?" "There's a boss who's been pestering me. He asked me to meet him tonight. I want you to come with me, to make him give up." I thought about it, and figured there was no harm in it. So I agreed. "Okay, it's no big deal." "Thank you, brother, yeah." But Shen Yanran still looked disappointed. After all, I was keeping her at a distance now. Then, Shen Yanran gave a rough explanation about the boss pestering her. The boss's name was Jiang Wentai, around his 30s, and he was one of Shen Yanran's clients. They had met when he bought a car, and he had been pestering her ever since. The meeting place wasn't far. It only took 2.5 minutes for us to reach the restaurant. But we didn't go inside. Instead, we planned to have a direct showdown with Jing Wentai at the door. About 5 minutes later, a Rolls-Royce drove over. "Yanran, sorry to keep you waiting." A man around 30 years old, with a mature style of dressing and a square face. A very masculine man got out of the car. "Hello, Boss Jiang. This is my boyfriend. Yeah, hi." When he heard I was meeting a client for dinner, he insisted on sending me here. Shen Yanran was very straightforward and got straight to the point. Your boyfriend seems quite worried about you." As he spoke, Jiang Wentai forced a smile, and at the same time, looked at me with a stiff expression. But I had a look of shock on my face. In that split second, I seemed to see that his eyes were completely empty. When I blinked, to make sure I wasn't mistaken, his expression had returned to normal. Hello, Yehai. My name is Jiang Wentai. Yanran and I are good friends. She's an excellent girl. You have good taste. Jiang Wentai pretended to be generous and maintained a gentlemanly demeanor, trying to outshine me with his own charm. But I just said calmly, "Thank you, Boss Jiang, for acknowledging my girlfriend. We're all adults. Everyone knows what your real intention is. There's no need to hide it. I'm here to tell you clearly. Yanran is a woman with a man. Unless it's work-related, please keep your distance from her." Young man, you're overthinking. When I asked Yanran to dinner, it's definitely for work. Jiang Wentai forced an awkward smile, a flash of malice passing through his eyes. If that's the case, then let's talk. Since he was being so persistent, I decided to play along. Let's go, honey. Let's go have dinner with Boss Jiang together and have a good chat. Shen Yanran's heart was racing at the sudden honey. She almost fainted from happiness. Seeing this, Jiang Wentai sneered coldly from behind. No one knew what he was thinking. Soon the food was served. Jiang Wentai kept making awkward small talk, while Shen Yanran and I publicly showed our affection. Here, honey. Let me feed you a piece of steak. Upon hearing this, Shen Yanran's cheeks turned red. Her eyes filled with love as she looked at me. Just as we were about to kiss, Jiang Wentai couldn't stand it anymore, feeling disgusted. He coughed dryly and stopped us. Brother, yeah, come outside with me. I need to talk to you like men. With that, he walked out. I didn't think much and agreed. If he dared to play any tricks, I'd teach him a lesson. When I went outside, I saw Jiang Wentai sitting in the Rolls Royce. So I opened the passenger door and got in. Boss Jiang, what do you want to talk about? Heh, brother. You're different from those ordinary young guys. You're someone with a future. Boss Jiang, just say what you mean. There's no need to sweet talk me. Heh, brother. Shen Yanran is an excellent girl, but you two aren't a good match. Hearing this, I looked curious. Why aren't we a match? Jiang Wentai tapped the Rolls-Royce emblem. I admit you're a young man with potential, but in this society now, love and happiness are both built on material foundations. Forgive me for asking. Do you have a car and a house now? Can you give Shen Yanran happiness? No house, but I have a Porsche SU7, and also 10 million yuan in cash savings. Today's young people are really outstanding. The pride and sense of superiority on Jiang Wentai's face disappeared instantly. He felt like there was a fishbone stuck in his throat. Boss Jiang, if the only thing you wanted to talk about is this meaningless stuff, then I'll leave. With that, I prepared to open the car door. Seeing I was about to leave, Jiang Wentai put a hand on my shoulder, then took out a check from the armrest box and handed it to me. Brother, I have my eye on your woman. This is 10 million yuan. Take it and leave her. Seeing this, I took the check and flipped through it. After confirming it was valid, I decisively put it in my pocket. Boss Jiang, you're so generous. This deal is done? Haha, brother, yeah, you really are out of the ordinary. As the saying goes, a wise man adapts to circumstances. With this 10 million yuan, plus your own 10 million as startup capital, your future is boundless. You flatter me, Boss Jiang. With that, I opened the car door and stepped out. If there's nothing else, Boss Jiang, I'll go cash this check right now. Jiang Wentai nodded. Go ahead. Immediately after, I left without looking back as fast as I could. After getting in a taxi, I took out my phone and took a photo of the check and sent it to Shen Yanran with a message. Boss Jiang gave me 10 million to leave you. I couldn't refuse. I've already sneaked away. You'll have to handle the rest on your own. I'll transfer 5 million to you later. By the way, this Jiang Wentai doesn't seem human. He might be a monster. Be careful. At this moment, Shen Yanran, who was sitting in the restaurant, looked at the text message and couldn't hold back her emotions. She only saw the first part of the message and completely ignored the rest. Moreover, all she cared about now was that I had abandoned her for money. Looking at this message, Shen Yanran's heart ached faintly. Why would he do this? But she quickly came to her senses, because I had taken the initiative to tell her about this, and even said I would transfer 5 million to her. Could it be that he wanted to make some money from this? Although this was a bit unethical, it might still be the most sensible choice. Besides, Boss Jiang only told Yehai to leave me, but I never promised Boss Jiang to leave Yehai. If Yehai doesn't come to find me, then I can just go find him, right? Thinking this way, Shen Yanran looked at her phone and giggled. My brother Ye is so smart. At this moment, Zhang Wentai was already holding a bouquet of roses, walking in through the outer door of the restaurant. Yanran, your boyfriend. Hey, I just said a few words casually, gave him some money, and he gave you up. A man like this is unreliable. Impossible. My husband would never leave me for stinking money. Shen Yanran pretended to be emotionally agitated. Don't you believe it? Then just call him and ask, and you'll know. Zhang Wentai was full of anticipation as he watched Shen Yanran's sorrowful appearance. At the same time, an inexplicable sense of arrogance arose in his heart. Sooner or later, this woman's Suyan body would be his. At this moment, Shen Yanran hurriedly took out her phone and dialed. Yihan, where are you? Shen Yanran, I don't love you anymore. Goodbye, don't contact me again from now on. After saying that, I hung up the phone directly. Impossible. He's definitely not that kind of person. Shen Yanran unwillingly continued to make calls, but all she heard was the sound of the phone being turned off. Immediately, Shen Yanran pretended to be devastated. Yihan, did you really abandon me for money? I don't believe it. I must ask you face to face to make it clear. With that said, she frantically grabbed her bag nearby and rushed out of the restaurant, then shouted and yelled for me to come out. When she reached the roadside, she quickly found a taxi and disappeared without a trace. Inside the restaurant, Zhang Wentai was still smiling contentedly. Watching all this, he would wait until Shen Yanran was completely rejected by me, then take advantage of the situation as a caring guy. At this moment, I had already withdrawn that 10 million yuan and transferred it to Shen Yanran. After receiving 5 million yuan, Shen Yanran called me. I obviously got a bit impatient. Shen Yanran, I really want to leave you. Please don't contact me again in the future. Yihan, I understand your good intentions. Don't worry, I will cooperate with you to get this money. I won't misunderstand you. Are you out of your mind? I really don't like you. After saying that, I hung up the phone directly and stopped paying attention to this matter. After returning home, I told my wife everything about Zhang Wentai. After listening, my wife immediately started examining me. Honey, you're quite lucky. Zhang Wentai only sees you as an ordinary person. What he left in your body is just an evil ghost mark. This evil ghost mark will attract surrounding evil ghosts to you, causing you to be killed by evil ghosts without realizing it. But don't worry, I'll help you remove this mark right away. A few minutes later, I felt a wave of relief throughout my body. Then Ruyan resumed her human form. Honey, it's okay now. Thank you, wife. By the way, who exactly is Zhang Wentai? We don't need to explain that to you right now. The most important thing right now is to save the life of the white moonlight in your heart. With that said, Ruyan floated out of the window directly. Seeing this, I had no choice but to wash up and go back to the room, waiting for Ruyan to come back. Soon, I fell into a deep sleep. In my dream, I always felt like I was being bitten by something, and faintly heard an indistinct sentence. Honey, enjoy yourself to the fullest. Don't think about anything else. Turbulent like a stormy sea, tossing and turning in passion after that earth-shaking and world-shattering night. Before dawn, Ruyan sent Shen Yanran back. When Ruyan came back, I couldn't help but ask, what exactly are you guys trying to do? Is there any point in keeping me in the dark like this? Ruyan turned around and looked at me. With a hint of heartache, honey, just hold on a little longer. We're just missing one more person. Once we gather the 4 symbols technique, you can start cultivating. At that time, you will naturally understand everything. My head immediately felt like it was going to explode. What? There's still one more person?